Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Wipey Wipey Kali Yuga, whatever. I'm not finishing this
No.
joke. Um, so when last we left Keiichi, he was absolutely cooked. Bro is a roast dinner at this point. Like, GG. Anyway,
Stick a fork in him. He's done.
I can probably do narration this time. I will. I might pause to grab my inhaler a few times though. Anyway,
All right.
Nerd.
um, I'm gonna use my inhaler.
Just don't breathe him out.
Actually, I'm just gonna take a fat hit of my inhaler right now. It's kind of like I'm using my jewel.
It's like vaping, except not at all like vaping.
Oh man, that albuterol hits different, bro. I'm telling you. Okay, anyway, I lay down on the couch and stayed there dazed for a while. Also, does anyone want to take Keiichi's voice this time since I'm doing narration again?
I suppose I'll handle it.
Okay. Well, then we might have Keiichi talking to Oishi, so...
Then it'll be really funny. Then I'll just forfeit it to you in that case.
Well, I mean, by my theory, Oichi is part of Keiichi, and I'm just so smart, so I know I'm correct. Anyway, my mind was completely blank. I couldn't think about anything for more than a few seconds. There was a note at my house saying that Mom and Dad would be home late, and that I should have some ramen or something for dinner. I'm still very suspicious of the fact that Mom and Dad always seem to be home late every time somebody comes to visit, seemingly. Not really sure what's up with that. I could make it whenever I wanted, but I had no appetite, so I just stared blankly at the ceiling without eating anything. Holy Keiichi, are you me?
He's eating the ceiling.
The hands of the clock were already pointing at 10. Would I get another phone call like that today? Even though Shion had already disappeared. Would she still call me? Where were they calling from? And who were they? Come on, Keiichi, you're smarter than this. Come on. Come on.
No, he's not.
You can
No,
connect the
he's not.
dots. You can connect the dots here. The more I thought about it, the more I started to tremble. I even thought about just disconnecting the phone line. That's probably not the worst idea, actually. If I had been thinking a little less logically, I really would have done it too. Hold on, Keiichi Maebara. Oishi-san admitted it himself, didn't he? That Shion went missing a lot? Couldn't she just have gone to the relatives that Oishi-san didn't know about? And have been there ever since? Shion and I were both being targeted by somebody, so it wouldn't be strange to think she went somewhere she usually didn't in order to hide. And that must have been why Oishi-san couldn't locate her, and why he labeled her a disappearance. Yeah, that had to be it. Shion hadn't disappeared at all! Then my right hand moved of its own volition and slapped me on the cheek. Thank you, right hand. Its cold sting let me calm down a little.
Muted.
Sorry about that. Just got interrupted by something. Don't just convince yourself of the most convenient possibility, Keiichi Maeba.
I mean, do you see how many dots there are there? It's actually canon.
Yeah, true. That was just deep lore.
I knew I didn't want to admit she had disappeared. Admitting it would mean that something terrifying was definitely happening. I just needed to figure out whether Shion was the one on the phone or not. Of course she isn't. Keiichi, come on, man. I know you want to hold out hope here, but like, bro. Would I ask her if she was actually Shion? Like, even if she is Shion at this point, I don't know that that helps. I really don't know that that helps. It seemed like an incredibly absurd thing to do.
Still, don't run from this, Keiichi.
If the person on the other end still believed that I thought she was Shion, then that gave me a tiny advantage. Casually, completely casually, I would listen to what she had to say, and fend her off. I would tear the skin off the monster. It would definitely be really scary for me. However, as the last survivor of the people who went into the storehouse that night, this was my duty to perform. Still, then who would call me and pretend to be Shion? Also, tearing the skin off the monster is a very interesting way to say unmask the culprit. Anyway, I may have only heard her over the phone, but her voice shouldn't be that easy to replicate. That was definitely Shion's voice. It sounded just like her. It could only have been Shion. There was someone, though, wasn't there? Someone who sounded just like Shion. Mion. Who else could have done this? At this point, seriously, after all this time, all those little things that didn't quite make sense about Mion until now overwhelmed my mind. Like being questioned about sneaking into the ritual storehouse, and how she shook the ladder while spouting curses. That wasn't weird or creepy, Keiji. Calm down, bro. Who else? Who else could have?
That's
That's the most normal thing to happen in this chapter.
It's
Why,
normal
though?
teenage girl behavior.
Why would Mion... I thought back to the things about the Sonozaki family that I had heard from Oishi and Shion. Sorry, Oishi-san and Shion. Mion was always entangled in the incidents, in a position where she was omnipotent. Some of that information included things that Shion had told me after she disappeared.
Incredible. Mion power
Badly
scaling is gonna go
scratched my
crazy.
head. Do you think Mion could beat, House MD? Or is he simply too strong?
I think he's a bit above her pay grade.
Yeah, because he's like, we need to give him rat bites. You know how it is. Courage. Give me the courage.
What?
Just a little bit of courage to pick up the phone. I know it will ring tonight. I am not elaborating. It would be so easy to run away. That, though, would be the same as making it easy for them to erase me. I cannot run. I must stand up and face it. After all, the next sacrifice would definitely be me. I was sure Shion would use tricky words to try and track me. Be careful, be careful. I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared. I like how this definitely is not true. She's just directly asked him every time, and he's just given an answer. I don't want to do this, 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 I don't want to do this.
You think he's sorry?
Maybe.
Not yet. At that point,
Not enough.
it rang. The phone rang, and I didn't know where the call was coming from.
Inside the house.
Damn it.
Shion had disappeared. Disappeared a long time ago. Disappeared the night after Watanagashi. Yet, until today, she had been calling me like nothing happened. Now again, tonight. The people that had disappeared, their corpses simply haven't been found. I didn't really think they were alive. So if it really was Shion on the other end, did that mean she was calling me from another world? Of course, that couldn't be. A
Shion is my
living being
favorite
was
Isekai
calling me,
protagonist.
pretending to be Shion. Shion was long gone, and yet, as though she were alive and well, the phone continued its incessant ringing. I didn't want to pick up if I didn't have to. I had just concluded, though, that not doing so wouldn't solve anything. Then, what would I do after I answered it? Would I immediately declare she wasn't Shion and ask who she was? Alternatively, would I pretend I was still fooled and try to grab her by the tail? She has a tail?
That
Oh
would
yeah.
probably be the safest thing to do.
What I was most afraid of was what the person on the phone would do when she realized I knew she wasn't Shion. However, as long as I continued to let her think I was fooled, she wouldn't do anything extreme, right?
It's gonna just be Ren on the other end of the phone.
If I just make sure to be careful, that should just be the safest option. Yeah, that would be awesome
Man,
if it was just Reno on the other end.
Whoever's on the other end of the phone must be thinking like, wow, why is he taking this long to pick up the phone?
Well, see, whenever
Do they have an
KG is
answering
like
machine?
thinking like this, it's like 10 minutes, even though it feels like an hour. So anyway, if I just make sure to be careful, that should be the safest option. I've made up my mind. I'll answer the phone. Once I do that, I'll talk to her as if nothing happened.
Nothing ever happened.
That wasn't all I'd do this time, though. I'd scope her out. Who was she? What was she thinking?
Oh, it's phone.
And what was she after? Why was she doing this? Was she really the one who killed Tomatake-san and Takano-san? What happened to the mayor? What happened to Rika-chan and Sadako? I reached out for the receiver, my arm trembling. There were too many things I wanted to know, too many things I wanted to ask. I was scared. I should start by picking up the phone. Pick it up, Keiichi. Pick it up, Keiichi.
Hello?
Oh, how relieved I would have been if it hadn't been a call from Shion. Ah, Kei-chan. It's me. It's Shion. My momentary, convenient, and above all fleeting prediction was ripped into 1,000 pieces. I couldn't help shaking at this point. Get ready for this. You took a long time to pick up. I thought you weren't home, and I was about to hang up. Okay, so he did actually take a while to pick up. That one was in real time. Good to know.
Sorry. I was just in the bath.
He said the thing! He said the thing! Did your family not pick up for you? Could your parents be out right now, Kei-chan? I failed. I let her in on a fatal piece of information, that I was currently the only one at my house.
Well, no. They're not really... Anyway, have you heard about Rika-chan and Satoko?
No. What happened after that? Were they found?
Nah. They weren't found.
Kei-chan, please don't lose hope. If Oishi-san hadn't let me know, then I might have allowed myself to shed a tear or two at Shion's considerate words. Sorry, a bit of a Freudian slip. Instead, now that it had come to this, I couldn't take her words at face value. Again, don't forget that this could actually be Shion on the phone, but I'm not sure that actually makes this better. The person on the other end of the receiver, the more perfect a Shion they were, the more my blood curdled in fear.
Rika-chan and Satoko. They were kidnapped, weren't they?
Yes. I don't think there's much doubt. Just how cruel and grave a meaning did those words hold? Their weight astonished me, and then a moment later, I was overcome with numbness and felt like I would pass out.
Drama Queen Keiichi.
I had asked if Rika-chan and Sadako had been kidnapped. Shion, in turn, answered that there wasn't much doubt. That cruel meaning behind her words.
Rika-chan and Satoko were... no. I mean... I'm sorry. About the mayor. What do you think happened after he was kidnapped? Do you think he's still alive?
What happened to Rika-chan and Sadako after they were kidnapped? That's what I wanted to ask, but I frantically caught myself. What if she had given that question a terrifying response in such a way to sound like it had nothing to do with her? I was scared of that, so I immediately brought up the mayor. Oh, that was quick. That said, however much I talked about the mayor, I think he was killed.
Hey, wait. That was quick.
So I guess we are real-time thought KHE this time. That's awesome. I think it must be really hard to kidnap someone and keep them like they are. As long as they're not hostages, it would be most practical to kill them once you were done with them. The world started to bend so much, I almost lost my balance. The scenery in my eyes rolled around and around like the hands of a clock and tried to swallow me whole from below. I frantically put a hand on the wall to support myself. A moment later, a severe nausea welled up within me. How was she saying such things so lightly?
Kill them? So readily. I mean, what's a human life for two anyway?
Oh, this is a new track.
Fascism, yes.
This track
One of
is
the best
called
tracks in the
Fascism.
series. Yes,
That's
exactly what
awesome.
it's called.
It's a horrible thing, but I think that's probably what happened. If the mayor was killed, then did that mean that the same had happened to Rika-chan and Sadako? No, that couldn't. They weren't some random old man. It was Rika-chan.
They were named characters.
It was Sadako.
They were named characters.
They couldn't kill them so readily. It's probably better to think that Rika-chan and Sadako-chan ended up the same way.
What?
That got cut off so hard. Oh my goodness.
It's a tragedy. I saw the ring
Here, I can
disappear
do
for
this
out of
one.
my
I can
profile.
do this one since my noise suppression's off.
Nope, I got that off too. Beautiful.
Those were the words I wanted to hear the least, and I fought them back with a scream of my own. Also, this line of "they weren't some random old man," I feel, is sort of a clue to what's happening, kind of, maybe.
I feel like that's
I'll
like
keep that in my
almost a
memory.
I feel like that's
It's a
almost a
meta
meta joke because the
It's
mayor
definitely
never
a
really
meta
got a
joke.
name.
Well, yeah, because like we're slowly meeting the cast, right? But for now, those are the only people that he actually recognizes as people. Anyway. Even though it wouldn't change anything, I still couldn't help but scream.
Didn't Shion say she was like close to the mayor or something? It seems like a dickish thing to say to her.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, he only thought it, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he said it.
This time,
Well, it was written on his face, but she
yeah, it
can't
was
see it
written
right
on
now.
his face, but she can't see it over the phone. So it's fine. I'm gonna laugh so hard if they actually can see the narration on his face. I'm gonna fucking lose my mind.
He just got like a visor that just reads what he's thinking on it.
It's
know.
like one of those, like, you know how you've got those rings on buses and trains and whatnot where it just loops the text around?
Oh no. Anyway, this time, the tears flowed. I've been confronted with the most horrific outcome that I've been trying to avoid considering ever since last night, and I cried. There was no longer any doubt that it was my fault. I killed them. I killed Rika-chan and Sadako. I succumbed to the weakness of my own heart and confessed everything to Rika-chan. That's why they were killed. That meant I killed them. When Rika-chan looked at me with those innocent eyes, if only I hadn't given in.
Thought you were a Gep gun.
Oh my god. Even my voice gave out, and yet still, I cried and cried. Gei-chan, please, just try and calm down. Rika-chan and Sadako, they've been killed. We couldn't even find their remains. I would never be allowed to even apologize to their faces. If that was to be my punishment, then how brutal a punishment it was. I think Shion tried to comfort me, but I didn't hear any of it. What are you going to gain by doing that? They're definitely going to target you and me next. Please, I'm asking you to get a hold of yourself. Please. Please. Shion was shouting, imploring me with a voice that sounded like tears were in her eyes. However, I was coming to hate the sound of that voice more and more. This Shion killed them. I had no doubts that this person killed them. Why? Why?
Why? Why kidnap someone and then kill them? Screw curses. Are people's lives really that cheap? Erasing them and killing them without a second thought like this?
You're right. You're absolutely right. It would take a demon. I felt like crushing the receiver in my hand. How long did this person plan on acting like it was someone else's problem? There was a magma in the pit of my stomach, and it felt like it was going to erupt at any moment.
Hey, Shion, please tell me, why did Hinamizawa start needing someone to die on the night of Watanagashi?
That's what I'd like to know.
The fighting over the dam project was already over and done with. Haven't enough people been cursed already? Why is it? Why? If there's a reason, say it now!
I was incoherent at this point. My emotions had broken through the dam inside of me, rushing forth, and I couldn't
the
stop
dam?
them. He's used this metaphor before.
It's a dam reference.
Is this a Higurashi reference?
Okay. Here's my theory. What if this entire story is actually Hinamizawa AU, but in real life Hinamizawa got flooded? Anyway, these were not simple questions. This was an interrogation. Shion herself hadn't realized it yet. It was just too funny. It was so funny that I couldn't stop crying. I understand how you feel, Kei-chan. I really do. The dam wars ended a long time ago. Yet, murders and disappearances keep happening every year under the guise of Oyashiro-sama's curse. Why? Why is it happening? Some of them have nothing to do with this, and some of them didn't deserve to be cursed, so why? Why?
That's what I'm asking you!
I want to know that as much as anyone! Ha! Ha! Both our ragged breaths could be heard over the phone. Listen. Oyashiro-sama's curse never existed. It's too unrealistic. Just like you said, someone in the village is using the grand name of Oyashiro-sama's curse as a justification for continuing these murders and disappearances every Watanagashi. They were cunning. They'd been using the curse as a convenient tool, and made a system where they could get rid of 2 enemies of the village every year. And this year, that system killed Takano-san and Tomatake-san.
Then why wasn't that enough? Why did the mayor and Rika-chan and Satoko have to get killed too? I don't give a shit about the past!
Whoa, swearing.
The only thing I care about is why Rika-chan and Satoko needed to be killed. Why is that? I didn't say a word to Satoko, you know? Why even her? Why?
Scream that to the heavens.
A silence fell between us. Shion didn't answer for a while. Kei-chan, please, stop being mean. A sob. Was Shion crying? I don't have any idea what's going on either. Everything changed when we went into the ritual storehouse that night. It was the same for me. Oh, he fell for it. He fell for it. No, Cheiichi. No! As I listened to Shion's bitter weeping, I could feel my agitation subsiding. When I heard that Takano-san and Tomatake-san had been killed that night, I doubted my ears. Then, I realized it instantly. I realized what sort of a position I was in now. Four of us snuck in there. Kei-chan, you and I won't be so conveniently forgiven. When I thought about that, it made my chest so tight. It was so terrifying. You know that feeling, Kei-chan, don't you? There was nothing fake about her words. She'd even understood how I felt. That's why I confessed everything to Old Man Kimiyoshi. All of us entered the Forbidden Storehouse. It was just a little bit of fun. We knew we shouldn't have done it, but it really had just been for fun. It had only been a bit of exploration. That was all. Takano-san and Tomatake-san, who went in with us, were killed shortly afterward. They met such miserable ends. Since that day, I've been living in fear of when I would be attacked. There was nobody except Old Man Kimiyoshi who would help me, so I asked him to save me. Old Man Kimiyoshi, he wasn't mad. He smiled and said, "If you're really sorry, Shion-chan, then you'd never be demoned away." He really did smile at me and told me to leave it to him. So... Shion cried bitterly, recalling the beloved mayor's death. It was such a sad voice that none who heard it could prevent it from twisting their hearts. Again, I did let my emotions take over. Again, Did I let my emotions take over and go off at her? Shion was in the same situation as me. She should have been my one and only comrade. Thump. My heart pounded. My other self, deep within my mind, whispered to me, "Don't forget Keiichi Maebara. Don't forget about the mayor on the morning after Watanagashi." He was told of Takano-san and Tomatake-san's deaths over the phone, and committed to a meeting that evening. He went to a hospital appointment. He didn't tell his family. He'd only made it back just in time for the meeting. He went straight to the assembly hall. That's what Oishi-san said.
When did you let the mayor know?
Huh?
I'm sorry, Shion. It must seem like I'm kicking you while you're down, but... Shion, you told him, right? You told Old Man Kimiyoshi, the mayor.
Yes.
When did you let him know?
I'd begun to get scared of saying it aloud after hearing her sad voice. I wasn't saying it was contradictory, though. Besides, if there was a contradiction, then I wanted Shion to explain it to me.
Did you know that the mayor had a severe case of hemorrhoids and had gone to the hospital for treatment?
Kei-chan? What does that have to...
Please, answer me. If you didn't know, then just say so.
There was a momentary silence. Then, after stammering a few times, she replied, I knew that he had hemorrhoids. It looked like sitting down was really hard for him.
He was going to the hospital. You know which hospital, right?
I'm sorry, I don't know that much, but... Kid-chan, what does that have to do with... She, didn't know what hospital the mayor went to. That meant it was impossible for her to have gone all the way to the hospital to confess everything. Since she didn't know his destination, then she obviously couldn't have seen him on the train either. If there was any other chance for her to contact him, it would have been after he came to Hinamizawa. The train, however, had been delayed, and he only got back right before the meeting was about to start. He didn't have time. There wouldn't have been enough time for him to listen to Shion spill the beans.
I want to ask you straight. Shion, when did you tell the mayor about everything? When and the where? Your answer doesn't have to be precise, but please, give me one.
Hei-chan, why are you asking that? Her sob pierced into my ears. I was taken by the illusion that I was bullying her. Even so, I'll say it. If I'm wrong, then please correct me. Please prove to me that you're the real Shion.
It was impossible. The day the mayor disappeared, from dawn until he vanished, there was no opportunity for you to contact him.
That's...
The mayor left first thing in the morning for an examination at the university hospital all by himself, without telling anyone. Shion, you just said you don't know what hospital he went to. So you couldn't have contacted the mayor until he got back. Isn't that right? His train back was delayed by an accident, and he didn't return to his house until the meeting was about to start. So there was no time for you to have told him before the meeting had started either.
I heard Shion repeating her weak sobs. That sort of feminine voice automatically ripped into my heart.
Damn, he's so gay.
It was so painful for me to say it.
Shion, did you go to the meeting too? Did you attend it? And tell him there? If you didn't, then there won't have been any time left. The mayor disappeared on his way home.
Shion went to the meeting, didn't she? Did she or didn't she? The question was so simple to answer, but she didn't give me an immediate response. Actually, with the meeting,
You didn't even go to the part-time job you said you went to that day. I'll say it more directly. You haven't been seen since we were at the library together.
Kei-chan, well...
Shion Sonozaki disappeared the day after the Watanagashi.
Oh boy. The other end fell silent as the grave. It was so quiet that it was like the phone cord had been cut. I couldn't sense anyone there.
Oishi-san says you've been missing. Despite that, you've been calling me every night like this, haven't you?
She just has really intense hiccups.
Shion's sobs were torturing me. Still, I'm pretty sure I haven't said anything wrong.
Are you sure?
Please, Shion. If something I said was wrong, please say so. Shion, I'm begging you. Shion, there's no way you could have seen the mayor, but if you did see him...
If Shion ever did have the chance to meet with the mayor on that day, then that meant...
Then you saw him after the meeting. In other words, it could only have been right before he disappeared, or else afterwards.
That's a really good picture.
That was a really good laugh too.
Listen, I've been holding it in this whole time, bro. I am so ready to cackle at any time. Beep, beep, went the dial tone. I stood there dazed for a while until I realized she had hung up on me. I think that
And
went
then I
pretty
shit
well.
myself out of fear.
I mean, if I had the call end like that, I would shit myself out of fear too. So that's fair.
Oh, Shion sus.
Oh,
Another
Mahjong! Let's
note.
go!
Another
Yes!
scrapbook note, bro!
Yes!
It's still going!
Apparently, Takano's scrapbook is very extensive. How much do you want
The
to bet?
fucking endless, the infinite scrapbook, bro.
How much do you want to bet that there is way more than 11 pages? Alright, who wants
Fine,
Good
who
Gracie
wants
racing her, so I
Takano
think
to-
it's my turn.
Yeah, who wants Takano this time?
I always take her. The problem with twins.
Oh my fucking god. Jesus Christ.
This is not limited to just Hinamizawa, but in Onigafuchi village especially, the three families detested giving birth to twins as successors. The long-term dictatorship built on the precarious balance of the three families must have feared collapsing under the weight of internal strife. I love that game. From things like family quarrels. According to the literature, if twins were born, then they had to be called triplets born.
Oh my god.
With that, the very fact that both the Sonozaki family successor, Mion Sonozaki, and her twin, Shion, are alive is in itself deeply interesting. Perhaps the current leader, Oryo, is sympathetic? Of course, the twins were not cared for equally, and as the heir, Mion received special treatment. From what I've seen, despite the two of them looking exactly the same on the outside, the talent lies solely with Mion. My own observations of the two of them don't leave me at that impression. Tradition dictates that the leader of the Sonozaki family is said to inherit a demon, and they tattoo a magnificent one onto his or her back. In accordance with the tradition, there is an extremely high possibility that Mion has such a tattoo on her back. From what I've heard, there is apparently a magnificent demon tattooed on Oryo's back as well. Then, I wonder what sort of tattoo belongs to the heir, Mion. I really want to see your back. He's into bats.
Free Kano.
Takano has consistently been a freak. This is not a surprising development. She's
like
also the
mildly
most
freaky.
She's also the most
She's not-
relatable character.
She's like slightly spicy white girl freaky.
Yeah.
She's a true
She's-
crime white girl.
She's a true crime
Yeah.
white girl.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, now we're at the Suzu Mahjong parlor. Alright,
Oh,
let's
boy.
do this.
My time
I'm gonna
to
guess that
shine.
Oishi is in here. Reserved for the day, Suzu Mahjong parlor.
Only boomers would play mahjong.
Clatter clack. I'm assuming this is like the game master.
Hey, Akura-chan, you're the last one here. All the youngsters are here already.
I'm guessing Kura-chan is short for Kurado, like Kurado Oishi.
Corrado, yeah. Excuse me, miss.
That's the feminine voice I did, yeah.
Oishi handed over a convenience store bag with a carton of cigarettes in it to the old lady who owned the mahjong parlor, so she shrewdly made herself scarce. She was used to this by now.
Fair guy.
Someone else can take this one.
Didn't Grumple have him?
Oishi saw good work today. I don't know what voice Bear Guy has.
Try and sound
They-
like a
Well,
bear.
I thought you said
Were
like
you-
a weird, like, chipper cartoon character voice.
were you all earnestly waiting for me? You could have just done 3-player.
Everyone sitting at the mahjong tables in the small parlor were Oishi's subordinates, but there were no tiles laid out anywhere. Hold on.
Oh boy.
I want to see
We're
the
seeing the
Oishi
old background. Pretty much the same.
Ooh.
Just
Except
with
there's-
actual people there.
Yeah, there's people there just playing mahjong.
Who could believe it? People playing mahjong in a mahjong parlor.
Nah, that's crazy. Everyone, I'd like to thank you for your days of investigation without sleep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Energetic responses filled the parlor, and one weird guy. Already, it had lost the atmosphere of a place of entertainment.
Bro, I don't think there's any atmosphere here. The situation is not looking good. The chief appears to have backed down due to Congressman Sonozaki's threats. In the coming days, we'll hand off Takano's murder to the Gifu police and give the missing persons case of the disappearance of the mayor and the others to the community division.
That damn upstart chief. The veterans in the room cursed him.
All of our requests for warrants were turned down as well. I've even been told by our section chief not to go anywhere near the Sonozaki house. We're certainly in a bind. That we are. Incidentally, it looks like I'll be getting orders soon to go to training at the Metropolitan Police Department starting next week. After that, I've even been told to take a paid vacation in Izu. Well, I suppose that ain't bad.
He heard a few dry laughs. It wasn't anything to laugh about, but that was all they could do.
This always happens. But incidents are a lot like locking your keys in the car. The keys need to unlock the door are always locked inside, like some kind of locked room mystery. For cars, you call the repairman and they'll pry open your door. For incidents? Kuma-chan, show the map.
Kuma guy flipped over the whiteboard. On the back was a map of the Sonozaki premises made with magnets.
Now, I've been doing this job for a long time. I've got a lot of faith in my gut. But this could be the one time it was wrong, no?
Why are they all at a mahjong parlor to discuss this?
Because they reserved it for themselves, and because, I would assume because of the pressure on the chief and whatnot. These are the guys who want to investigate, I would guess. Anyone worried about their retirement money is until the count of 10 to get out of here.
Luigi began to count to 10, and everyone counted along with him. It was their famous 10-count resolution.
9, 10. Ah, no one's leaving. None of you love your families too much, is that it?
Wah.
Wah.
Everyone laughed uproariously, and one guy weirdly, cheering things up.
I want everyone to go over their materials. Memorize locations and blind spots of all the security cameras. Kuma-chan, you'll stand by in the command car. If something happens, you'll switch with me and take over. Komiyama-kun will head up Infiltration Team A. Atsushi-kun will lead Team B. Observation teams will set up at points 1 through 8. Bonchi-kun, you're responsible for keeping a strict timetable. Control your rotation so HQ doesn't get wise. Now, the team on standby has the most important job, alright? If the section chief asks where I am, play dumb.
Wah.
I'll handle escorting our guest. You can be sure I'll bring him to the venue. So wait patiently, everyone.
What does he mean by that? Ah, I see. Never mind. Oh, this is Bear Guy.
There, guys.
Wonder if he'll cave. Heichi Mayabara, that is.
Legend 27. From what I've seen, we're set for tomorrow or the day after in that regard. It'll be easy.
Alright, take a
All
shit.
units, take a shit.
I'm gonna take a fat hit of my inhaler before we go back. Alright, time to... It's vaping time. Alright, okay. So, I would like to let everyone know, because I don't think it shows up on my Discord stream, but I did get the achievement for reading every Watanagashi tip, so...
Oh boy.
So that means we are
We
very
know what
close
that
to the
means,
end.
gentlemen.
That's our last tip, baby.
Unless we're getting chapters without tips.
Keiichi. Keiichi?
Just leave him alone. His friends went missing. It must be really hard for him.
Oh my god, Charlie Brown adult.
Normally, my dad never shows me any consideration, but this time he did.
Couldn't KG stay home from school for a while, too? I think it would be safer to not go into the police do something about this.
Maybe. Compared to what could happen, taking a few days off wouldn't be a bad idea.
Smartest parents in a horror thing.
Anyways, how is it logical not to close school during such a dangerous situation? What do those teachers think our children are?
Can you understand anything I'm saying?
Barely.
Yes.
Mom and
It's
Dad were
intelligible because we have the text.
Mom and Dad were getting pretty riled up, but at this point, I couldn't care less. Okay, wait, I want to try an experiment. Next time a dad line shows up, I'm going to close my eyes, and if I cannot repeat back to you what you said, yeah.
Fair.
Besides, that wasn't the only thing I couldn't care less about. The breakfast table, the food in front of me, the time and date, myself, I really had no interest in anything.
He's
This
reached
feeling.
enlightenment. He has no attachments.
This feeling,
Wow, good for
it was
him.
like a dead fog in my mind. It felt like getting dizzy after taking strong medication. Like some sort of drug that makes you...
Do
Okay, I'm
something to
closing my
yourself.
eyes once this line is fully out. Hold on. Okay, it's fully out, my eyes are closed.
Okay.
Gretchen, how are your studies going? You've gotten further than the other kids, haven't you? If you have, then you can take a few days off, alright?
Wait, I just realized, is Keiichi's dad Bane?
You're like a frog man.
So I heard about half of that, I think. Okay, anyway, moving on.
Fine, I'll be a little more subtle next time.
Okay, let's see. Keiichi, how are your studies going? Yeah, I didn't hear that at all. You've gotten further than the other... I heard you've gotten further, and that was about it. And then I heard few days off, and that was it.
So you heard like
understand the
5
rest.
words.
I can understand the second half once I stop looking.
I didn't even feel like answering. Today was Thursday. Only
No, it's
4
Friday.
days had passed since the Watanagashi festival.
Oh, so it's on
It
Sunday.
would be
Noted.
Thursday if it wasn't daylight savings. So
What?
such a short time, and yet now things were completely different. It was daylight savings time now, so it's Friday instead of Thursday. Everything had changed because it was Friday instead of Thursday now.
Now
You're
you
put
can sing
into
the
a different
Rebecca.
Kalpa that's an hour behind.
Now you can sing the Rebecca Black song.
The tranquil village, bright and clear as if it were an Indian summer, had undergone a
What?
total reversal. A
Kalpa?
what?
Is that a Kalpa reference?
What do you mean Indian summer? Keiichi, what are you talking about? Anyway, People were made to disappear every night, and we couldn't even relax when walking out in broad daylight. The village had become a world of fear. I had no right to curse this outcome. After all, the one responsible for everything was me. Okay, Keiichi, I know you want to blame yourself, but like, you're laying it on a little bit thick here. There are 3 other people that are also responsible for this.
Everything is my fault!
That night, I couldn't resist honestly. You know?
I think he's kind of more getting at, like, he feels responsible for Satoko and Rika more than anything else.
Shion's death was my fault! Same with Toмотake and Takano.
I couldn't resist my honestly tiny, little, and incredibly stupid curiosity, and broke the taboo. Like, does Keiichi think that if he hadn't gone to the storehouse that night, this wouldn't have happened? I mean, that is a possibility.
It's my fault!
I mean, I guess that's a possibility, but like,
Keiichi forced them to go into that storehouse.
Oh yeah, that was true.
I held a baseball bat to their heads!
He even brought C4 to open the door.
This isn't somewhere we should be going, is it? Let's not. It's a crime to force your way into a locked building, even if you don't steal anything. Shion, now that you know they weren't having some secret rendezvous, you've had enough, right? I don't want to do something like this. What if Rika-chan's dance ends while we're messing around here?
I prattled on as I took the lock from Toмотake-san's hands and put it back on the door. I'll forget everything I saw here, so come on. Let's go, let's go! Is he having a flashback?
I think this.
He's rewriting history.
He's reimagining.
Yeah, weird reimagined flashback.
He's time leaping. This is Steins Gate now.
Maybe this is from a different reality. Yeah. Takano-san was fretting, but I pushed her away. But also, if this is from a different reality, that brings up the question of how time loopy is this story.
Would you say this is a different Kalpa?
Maybe.
Get a move on.
Let's see how this goes.
On true crime.
Maybe she'll like tear the lock off anyway. Takano-san was fretting, but I pushed her away. Toмотake-san grinned painfully. Shion's shoulders drooped as if to call me an idiot. Even so, I didn't care. I pushed everyone farther and farther away. Rika-chan's dance was still going on. Then, at last, her dance was brought to a close with a roaring applause. I, too, until my hands turned red, I clapped, and I clapped. Ding dong. Well, that was a weird scene.
She's here because it's your usual meetup time, isn't it? Isn't she?
I looked up at the clock. It was 5 minutes past my time to meet with Rena.
Actually, shouldn't you take a few days off from school?
You're right. Thanks for being so considerate.
I rose from my seat.
Thank you, Frogman.
I went to the entrance to greet Rena. Going to the entrance to greet Rena has never gone badly.
Of course not. Maybe another Kalpa it might, but...
We're going to school as a group starting today, so you can't be late.
Ah, that's right. If we, the ones furthest away, were to be late, the younger kids on the way there would be waiting for us.
I think I'm gonna take some time off from school.
Ellipsis. Okay.
Rena answered shortly, nodding.
I think you should do whatever's best for you, Keiichi-kun. So you don't need to feel that you're weak or anything.
Ellipsis.
Oh, and here. It's a notice they're sending around. Could you give it to your mom? I think it has a lot of important announcements in it.
I'll give it to your mom.
I took the notice.
No!
There were a lot more pages than normal. The one at the top, announced the disappearance of the mayor, Rika-chan, and Sadako, and that they wanted information about them. It made my heart ache.
The police are looking for them as best they can, too. They'll find them for sure. Just be patient, okay?
Rena said, smiling, in an attempt to give me courage. Rather than that, though, her smile looked like it was because she herself wanted to believe they were safe.
Rena, you're not going to question me?
Nope.
Rena, you know, don't you? About that night, what I...
Do you mean when you snuck into the ritual storehouse?
This is just public domain at this point, bro.
You're public knowledge.
Flipped on the light switch, GG. Anyway, I was speechless for a moment, but then I bit my lip, made up my mind, and nodded a little.
Well, it's all out in the open. Really, I shouldn't do bad things like that.
Michan was really mad.
So she was upset. I suppose she would have been.
I don't think she was as angry about you sneaking in there, though, as much as about you hiding it from her.
Ellipsis.
Maybe Keiichi-kun, maybe you should have told her yourself and apologized.
I should have told her myself and apologized. That troubled me. Just 1 week ago, I did something that I, myself, should have apologized to Mion for. I'd hurt her badly. However, I hadn't realized that at all. Plus, with all the confusion that Shion's appearance had brought, I still hadn't been able to talk to Mion about it.
Rena, you're right. I never realized anything until you tell me.
Keiichi-kun, hypothetically, if you had admitted you'd done something wrong right away and apologized to Michan, I wonder if Rika-chan and Satoko-chan wouldn't have had to disappear.
Hypothetically is doing a lot of heavy lifting here.
What a brutal line to say, though. If you just
Fucking
apologize,
destroyed.
Casey. If you just apologize, Casey, all those kids would have died. Man, fuck you, Casey.
I like how also that really implicates Mion.
I mean, I think we're a bit far past implicating Mion at this point.
But I mean,
I think
also
we've
just
crossed
like
that bridge.
she's just openly implicating Mion.
Well, I mean, hey,
Hey,
if
Casey,
the storehouse is public
you know, if you
knowledge,
had just
maybe
said
Mion
sorry-
being a freak is public knowledge.
If you had just said sorry, Mia wouldn't have had to kill all those kids, Casey. Look what you made her do.
I couldn't answer.
First you forced everyone to go into that storehouse. Then you forced Michan to kill those kids.
What's
Damn
next?
it,
You're gonna force
Keiichi.
someone to blow up the village?
She sets off the
Bet you're
atom
gonna force
bomb.
someone to build some sort of dam.
I couldn't answer right away. I couldn't admit to that. Wasn't Rena telling me right now, though, that I should have admitted to my crime sooner? If I had done that and apologized, would things not have gone in such a horrible direction? Rena's eyes were filled with kindness, but they weren't naive enough to forgive me for keeping silent, and they stared fixedly into my own. I actually just had a thought.
No way.
There's something else that Keiichi never apologized for, I believe. And it would be really funny if this thing was what led to all the deaths this chapter. And
I
Was
think
it
we
the
know what you're
gold thing?
talking about. Yeah. He even
yeah.
acknowledges it a week prior.
I thought you had actually just acknowledged that.
Oh no, I'm talking about the doll at the very beginning. Remember?
Yeah. No, he just acknowledged that
Oh,
with the
okay,
week
never
prior
mind.
thing.
Never mind, my bad. Whoopsie. Maybe I need to write out a timeline on my notes. Anyway.
Yeah.
Rena's eyes were filled with kindness, but they weren't naive enough to forgive me for keeping silent, and they stared fixedly into my own.
Yeah, you're right.
If I admitted my crime sooner, then Rika-chan and Sadako wouldn't have had to die or disappear. Smack! The palm of Rena's hand slapped me in the cheek. I stood there unmoving, my head still tilted in the direction I'd been hit. It didn't hurt at all.
Girly.
I don't think that anyone has scolded you, Keiichi-kun. So I'll scold you in their place, okay?
Keiichi, put on the gimp suit.
Oh no. I pressed a hand to my cheek, now warm with embarrassment, and quietly stared down at Rena's feet.
Inky.
Stop. No.
Going somewhere you're not allowed to go is a very bad thing to do. Do you understand that?
Uh-huh.
Answer me with a yes, Keiichi-kun.
Yes.
Also, what's even worse, you didn't admit to having done something so bad. You should never do anything as bad in the first place. But not admitting to it or apologizing is much, much worse.
Yes. I was wrong.
For a few moments, Rena stared at me, silently and intently, as if gauging my remorse.
Your divorce, huh?
My remorse.
Oh. Sorry, I looked away for a moment.
Just gauging the divorce papers I just gave to her.
I mean, this does seem like a conversation that would happen before a divorce. Then, finally, the tension in her face softened, and she smiled.
Okay then, it's about time. I should be going.
They really are a married couple. Alright. Like, Keiichi breaks Rena's fingers, Rena makes him food and nags him.
And she says,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Be sure to give the notice to your mom, okay? Also warn her not to go out to pass on after after it gets
Like, pass on
dark.
the
Oh
notice.
goodness. Yeah, pass it on. Yes.
That's a big cluster of letters.
Of two-letter words.
Most words are.
Good point.
I bent down to pick up the notice, which I dropped when she slapped me. I like how right after you said that, the first word in the next sentence is I. Ryukishi writing this in real time, for real, on God, no cab. The pages had come out of the clasp, and were now making a mess on the floor. I gathered them up one by one. My hand stopped at a single, more light-hearted page, with peaceful sentences dancing on it.
Oh boy.
We still have plenty of homemade soy sauce in stock. Feel free to come to the Sonozaki house if you want some.
What is this?
I picked up the page and scanned the rest of it. They were stockpiling high-quality soy sauce they got from faraway relatives in the Akita prefecture. They had gotten a big shipment recently. They couldn't use it all, so they wanted anyone who wanted some to feel free to come over, is what it said. As a PS, it said it arrived in barrels, and to please bring a 2-liter bottle or other container for it. That's how it tied together.
If you need some soy sauce, then you would go to the Sonozaki house. Rena, did you know all along?
Yeah. I knew.
Rena had already been suspicious of Mion as soon as she noticed that the big bottle of soy sauce was missing. Rika-chan had taken the bottle, and gone to Mion's house, and she was erased. Rika-chan wasn't coming back, so Sadako called Mion's house, since she knew where she had gone, and then Sadako got called there as well. That meeting on the day the mayor disappeared, didn't Oishi-san say that the 3 families participated in it? That 3 families would include the Sonozaki family. Didn't he also say that the current leader was really old, so her heir, Mion, frequently stood in for her at public appearances? While the mayor was returning from the shrine, Mion called out and stopped him. She talked to him, and invited him to their house, and then she made him disappear. It was probably even simpler to make Shion disappear. Shion was a part of the Sonozaki family. They probably knew exactly what she was doing at all times. I'm sure they even knew her part-time job schedule too. Thinking back, wasn't that Angel Mort store managed by the Sonozaki family? Setting up an ambush for her there wouldn't have been any trouble at all.
I'm going to Mion. I'll go apologize. I'm going to have her put an end to everything. And probably won't forgive me easily, but I'll go and ask her not to sacrifice anyone else.
I'm sure this will go great.
Yeah, no, he dies.
With that decided, there was no need for me to be lazing around here.
Nah, I'd live.
I put on my shoes and slipped past Rena to exit the house. When she stopped me,
I'm going to.
Rena has joined your party.
Da-da-da! Rena, shouldn't you go to school?
This is way more important than school.
Rena, you shouldn't come. If you get wrapped into this too, then I think I might actually go crazy.
Rena didn't move her arm, which was blocking my way.
If Keiichi-kun disappeared as well, then I think I might actually go crazy too. So I won't let you go alone.
Rena argued boldly, as tears welled up in her eyes. I saw them, and I knew the strength of her resolve.
Alright, let's go. Thank you, Rena.
Wait a second, that isn't Keiichi's famous catchphrase. Read the line again.
Alright. Tally ho. Thank you, Rena.
There we go, much better. Rena nodded slightly, but firmly, and finally let down the arm blocking me. Let's go. To Mion's house.
Tally ho
I'll
to Mion's
apologize
house.
for the crimes I've committed. Then we'll put an end to these twisted days. After that, I'll pray that once more we can return to those fun, lively days. Half your friend group is dead.
More than half if you count Shion as well.
No, wouldn't Shion make it exactly half?
No, I guess yeah, I would make it exactly half, yeah. Never mind.
With Rena following
No,
me-
Tomotake was also there.
Oh my god. No,
His
he's
thick
more of a
neck also
fifth
counts as
thing.
a second person.
No, he was more of a...
Well, like,
He was more of a
also,
romantic
it's not only that
interest.
half your friend group is dead, but your friend killed them. Your
Well, yeah.
remaining friend killed them.
Yeah, I mean... Yeah, but it's all Keiichi's fault, so... Anyway.
It is his
Yeah,
fault, and that's what I meant.
Keiichi-
He killed him. He killed them all.
If Keiichi had turned on that light switch, everyone would be fine.
Genuinely, I think that's a real possibility, and that's awesome. Anyway. With Rena following me, I left the house. In front of the house, there was a car waiting. Okay, we only have enough room in this party for 2 people. Oishi, get the fuck out of here. It was Oishi-san.
Hey! Good morning, my Imada-san. To you too, Ryugu-san. Together so early this morning? You make me jealous.
Uishi definitely knows what's going on right now, and he's here to drive us there, isn't he? God fucking damn, I hate this guy. I hate this
You
guy
want a
so
Kool-Aid
much.
man through the Sonozaki house's door?
What a truly praiseworthy man he was, if he had been lying in wait so early in the morning just to pressure me into talking. On this morning, though, maybe this was actually a good opportunity.
You're from the police.
Oh, have I not introduced myself to you, Ryugu-san? Please excuse my rudeness. My name is Oishi, from the Okinomiya Police Department. Pleased to meet you. Do you want to take this or should I continue?
Sure, I can take it. Also,
I can take it.
This line is kind of funny, when you know the context of him doing a deep dive on Rena. So for him, this probably does not really feel like a first meeting at all, even though he's pretending it does. Anyway. Are we telling Oishi-san?
Yeah. I think my palm is enough punishment for your crime, Keiichi-kun, but we should leave Mi-chan to these people. Mi-chan's to these people.
Pain and sadness. I looked down as those emotions built up in my heart.
We have something to tell you, Oishi-san.
Well, now, what about? Should we stand here and talk? Or go inside the car?
In the car, please.
I only continued to look down weakly. All I could do was be thankful for how dependable Rena was.
Keiichi-kun asked for no pickles.
And cheese.
At Rena's urging, I revealed everything to Oishi-san. The latter, while making sure to throw in murmurs that he was paying attention every now and then, took notes. Let me just... Okay, we need to kill Keiji right away. And I'm just gonna put
Kill
an
me
X.
on with hammers?
I think I'll put an X in the center square here. Alright. Anyway, we continued that way for a while.
How do you feel? Don't you feel a lot better now that you've told me?
Uishi-san asked us while scratching his head with his ballpoint pen. What? Which end?
Yes.
Okay, then. Anyway.
He actually just draws a dick on his forehead.
Yeah!
Of course I don't
Don't you feel better? Draws dick.
He draws a portrait of himself throwing it back on his own forehead.
Of course I don't feel better. The price that had been paid up until now for me not owning up to my crimes had been so immense. But as long as that payment wasn't returned, the load on my chest could never be removed. His radio started to emit static.
This is Kumagi Uishi-san. Over.
Yes. Hello.
Why did he
This
sound like
is
he was on the
Oishi.
verge of laughing?
We got news a few minutes ago that she's been absent from school. No movement at the Sonozaki house. Our target is still on the premises.
Yes. Good. Keep a close watch out.
Roger that. The relief for 3 and 7 just arrived, and they've returned to base. Also, it looks like the division chief is looking for you, Ushi-san. He keeps bugging me too. I'll tell him as soon as I get in touch with you. What do you want me to do? To tell him as soon as blah 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 blah. Yes.
If you're hard pressed for an answer, tell him you're actually under orders not to wake me from my morning nap.
Got it.
The radio grew silent.
Sorry about that. It was about work.
Oh, right, this is me now. Right. He just said there was no movement at the Sonozaki house, didn't he?
Oh my. Did it sound like that to you? This won't do. Please, keep that a secret, alright? I don't have permission from the division chief to be making private inquiries like this.
Oishi-san had suspected Mion for a long time.
Nor for questioning witnesses or for searching houses. We don't have permission for anything, really. The Sonozaki House's defenses said to protect the family members are also in full working condition. Without a warrant, we can't do about anything. Unless the crime happens right in front of us.
Oishi-san, could you be...
Rena's tone of voice was enough to make her spike clear as she started at Oishi-san.
Started?
Stared. You can't set foot in the Sonozaki house. Were you trying to get Keiichi-kun to go in there instead?
Rena, that's... What do you mean?
This person, just as I thought, he plays really dirty.
Stop, you're hurting my reputation. That's sad, I'm all ears to your explanation, okay?
Okay, so he basically just said yes. Oishi-san lit a cigarette and responded to Rena, wearing an expression implying that he was calm and willing to let her comment slide.
You can't get a warrant, but you've always had your eyes on Mi-chan because you thought she was suspicious.
Yes?
You plotted to incite Keiichi-kun and have him go to the Sonozaki house. Then if something were to happen to him, you would have used that as an excuse to go in. Isn't that right?
I only understood about half of what Rena was saying. I knew, however, that Oishi-san had been trying to use me.
Even if Keiichi-kun got hurt as a result, have you no shame? Is this how the police do things?
My, it seems we have an incredible detective on our hands. Oh my, oh my. Would you be interested in taking our exam? I'd gladly write a recommendation letter to get you into the detective division.
See, I told you she's a way better detective.
You're despicable.
Rena spoke quietly, her words dripping with hostility.
I've been insulted in all kinds of ways in my life, but one or two words from a young girl is always the roughest for me.
Even so, I suppose I should thank you for not arresting Mi-chan yet.
Don't mention it.
Oishi-san seemed to be enjoying his exchange with Rena. The things this man thought were like a swamp. I could barely see past the surface. Swamp metaphor, nice. It reminded me again of how much I disliked him.
Is that an Onigafuchi reference? Now then, as two esteemed friends of Mion Sonozaki-san, what do you plan on doing now? Will you wait kindly for me to go over the evidence and request a warrant?
No, we won't wait for that. We'll go and make Mi-chan surrender herself.
That's right. If she turned herself in rather than be arrested, she might get a lighter sentence. At this point, perhaps that was the only pity I could find in me to afford her.
I see. I wonder if that will go that well. If you're careless, you two may face danger, you know?
Oishi-san was measuring our resolve, so, in a strong voice, I declared, "We're fully prepared."
She has a gun, you know.
Oishi-san gave us an unpleasant, yet seemingly satisfied grin. It was then that I realized that this man was trying to use us for his own convenience.
If anything should happen to us, use that as an excuse. Though my greatest hope is that you will surround the place so that the criminal can't get away.
Ryugen-san, you're good at negotiating too. I'm throwing in the towel. I surrender.
What are you talking about?
If the policemen surround Michan's house, then it'll be insurance for the worst case scenario. For the worst case.
Plus, it would be another way of pressuring Mion to give herself up, wouldn't it?
Oishi to Kuma-chan. Oishi to Kuma-chan.
I wonder if it'll really be that simple.
Bzz, bzz. This is Kamagi. Go ahead.
Our two friends are going to play at the Sonozaki house. Make arrangements so that we can reinforce them if needed.
Roger!
Their altogether too short conversation implied that our questioning was already a part of their plans.
Anime-ass police.
Then, let's get going. Want to buy some tea biscuits on the way there?
Neither Rena nor I went along with Oishi-san's stupid joke.
Or take a shit before you go?
No. It's better at the Sonozaki house.
The middle
They have a
middle
really
seat's a
nice
toilet.
bathroom.
Luxury bathrooms at the Sonozaki
Jeez.
mansion.
Do you think the Sonozakis have a bidet?
I'm gonna steal their soaps. I'm gonna steal their nice fancy hand soaps.
They have one of those bidets that like lights up.
Laser bidet.
It's how they target.
Oishi stopped the car at the place where we always waited for Mion. Come to think of it, I've never been to Mion's house before. I've only heard that it's right down this road.
You know, maybe a laser bidet was the murder weapon. This is as far as I can take you. According to our information, there are quite a few security cameras set up on the premises. Still, don't worry. I've got a bunch of youngsters ready and waiting to slip past them and go in. We'll be monitoring the inside with a one-way mic, so if you two give a loud scream, we'll know right away.
Aren't most mics one way? We'll persuade her for sure. So please be ready for her to turn herself in.
In both our eyes was determination. It was the only method available to us for lightening the sins of our good friend.
Be plenty careful, you hear? You probably don't believe it right now, but I don't want you two being sacrificed if at all possible.
You're right about that. With that rude response, we left the car. Oh, here we go. The clinging humidity and the voices of the cicadas greeted us. I'd never have expected this would be happening today.
Let's go, Keiichi-kun.
Rena took the lead and began to walk. Down the road I'd never been.
I can take back over for Keiichi now if you like.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Rena, you've been to Mion's house before, right?
Yeah, a few times. It's a really big house. You could have fit a mountain into their backyard, too. You could pick mushrooms and stuff, though there are fences everywhere.
Big enough to fit a mountain. That was amazing. One of the 3 families controlling Hinamizawa, and the head family of the Sonozaki clan. Perhaps there was something to be said about its magnitude. The path continued onward, level and uneventful. There were metal fences along its edges, and beyond them were woods with trees growing thickly. The fences were high, The tops of them were bent inwards, sticking out like sharp spears. Plus, there was dangerous-looking barbed wire wrapping them. No one could look at them and not feel intimidated. In addition, there were signboards hung up here and there along the fence. Private property of the Sonozaki family. Entrance forbidden. Beware of venomous snakes. Active security cameras. Intruders will be charged an entry fee of 1 million yen.
This forest, or should I say mountain, is this all their yard?
It's more like their domain. As you can see, it's private property, but nobody maintains it. The forest isn't really the kind that you can go hiking in.
She could say that again. It really did feel like a neglected, savage woodland. It was dark and damp, and certainly not a forest that made you want to go for a nice walk. What does this look like in the original? Hold on. Let's take a look.
Pretty similar.
Wait, let me
Really
do,
similar, yeah.
Let me do the original, just the, yeah. There we go. Beautiful.
Authentic, Rena.
Maybe that's just what happens when a landowner has too much land. Like Oishi-san said, there were security cameras hung up all over the place. Though they had been weathered by wind and rain, casting doubt as to whether they were even functional.
I wonder if Mion is watching us as we come to her.
I don't think she is. The only people living in Michan's house are generally her and her grandma, after all. There's nobody to watch the cameras.
What a useless security system.
Well, Michan's father seems like a pretty tough person to get along with. So whenever anyone in the family is getting together, the cameras are apparently working properly.
That's right. Mion's father. He was a big-shot Yakuza, wasn't he? Rena smoothly danced around the answer as she explained. At last, a huge gate as big as I'd imagined appeared. This is...
Oh my god.
I want to see the
It's a
photos.
big gate.
Same thing.
It's a big gate.
I want to see the photos he took. Anyway, was she living by herself with her grandmother in a house with such a grand gateway?
I wonder if she's here.
Beep! The old buzzer made a dull sound. Was it cut off in the middle and not getting to the house? We waited long enough without a response for me to start thinking like that. However, we finally heard footsteps walking through the gravel on the other side of the gate. I nervously folded my hands, my palms now sweating into fists.
Knees weak.
There was
Arms heavy.
What?
You know, palms sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy.
Oh. There was a clang of a bolt being released, and the gate opened slightly. The person peeking out of the gap was none other than Mion. Well, this is unusual. Aren't you two going to school? Mion didn't seem all that surprised at visitors arriving in the morning, which wasn't a normal time. In fact, she almost seemed relaxed, as if she knew we were coming beforehand.
As if.
As if my favorite
Okay.
words.
Anyway,
We stayed home today.
Gei-chan is one thing, but you two, Rena? You two are such troublemakers. Mion smiled lightly, in the way that the Mion we knew always did. Well, let's not just stand here. Come on in. She gestured for us to follow her. I hesitated for a moment, looking at Rena.
Let's go.
Rena smiled cheerfully, as if she were passing through the gate of a good friend's house, and then did just that.
I want to bet Mion
As-
had a
then she
secret
pa-
torture
Then
basement.
she passed through the gate of a good friend's house.
As if. I rally myself, then go through the gate too. On the other side, it hadn't been maintained very well, but it was clear that the lot was magnificently wide. Yep, that's a lot. It's grassier in the remake. Interesting. Anyway. It wasn't quite what you think of when you hear mansion, but it was clearly a vast place. Was this the first time you've been here, Kei-chan?
Yeah. This house is enormous.
Steep thatched roofs aren't in fashion anymore. This place could be a tourist attraction. I want to rebuild it using totally average and boring reinforced concrete soon. Mion, is that how you spell dryly?
No, I don't think that is.
Drilly.
Not
Drilly.
usually. Drilly style.
Both dryly and drilly are correct spellings of the same word. Okay,
I
read it as dryly.
reject Drilly.
apparently. Yeah. Anyway, it's in the dictionary apparently, so I guess it's a word. Anyway, Mion dryly smiled as she said that, then closed the gate and relocked the heavy bolt. Don't worry about it. Things have been dangerous lately. Gotta do at least this much during the daytime.
Yeah. You're right.
Maybe it was my imagination, but I thought I saw a hint of a shadow in her smile. Well then, good sir and madam, I shall show you inside. Please, come this way. Mion bowed to us like a worker at a high-class hotel, then pivoted on her heel and began to walk. Rena gripped my stiffening arm lightly.
Keiichi-kun, you're just too tense. You came here to see Michan, remember? You don't need to be that nervous.
Yeah, she just killed several people. It's okay, Keiichi. That's right. When I get nervous, I tend to let everything show on my face. I'll stop tensing up. Even if something were to happen, there were two of us. Oishi-san's subordinates were waiting outside the gate for us, too. There was nothing to worry about. After thinking about it that much, I realized my nervousness was already gone, and laughed at myself. I don't think it's gonna be quite that simple, but...
It'll just work, trust.
Alright, more pictures.
Oh my
Photos.
god, we're doing this again. It's
I
just
want
the
to see
same
the
thing, bro.
photos. I want to see the
It's
photos.
the same. It's
I wanna
literally
see
the
the
exact
photos.
same.
It's not. It's a photo.
It's aesthetic.
What do you mean? Like
Jeez.
you clicked the button and all it changed was the aspect ratio. It's literally the same exact image otherwise.
Oh my god.
What's this? Mion, what's with this stone on top of the newspapers?
I'm gonna keep
It's in the
doing it
way.
every time we get a new background, so get owned. There was a pile of newspapers on the floor of the entrance, and there was a large rock on top of them. I didn't understand why something like that was here. Rena noticed me looking at it questioningly and giggled.
Ren? Did you know? What is this? Some kind of good luck charm?
If you don't really know, then feel free to move it out of the way and put your shoes there.
Keiichi-kun, there's a nest of swallows right above that stone.
Huh? Oh. You're right.
Ah, I see. This house is for people, but swallows still come in without permission and make nests. It must be like a tradition for them. Whenever spring comes, they always make a nest here. It's kind of annoying, though.
In other words, it's a sign to not take off your shoes here, because swallow poop could end up in them.
I couldn't help but laugh at the silly contrivance. My laughter naturally spread to the other two. A really long time ago, the Sonozaki family apparently cultivated silkworms. Our ancestors would get all worked up over exterminating the swallows. Wouldn't even think of it that way. Maybe this is our just desserts. Anyway, come on in. Into my torture dungeon. The inside of the
It's
just
a
house
regular
isn't
dungeon.
Quite at all. Oh hey, new.
Is he on
new
a classic
picture?
graphics?
No!
New picture. New picture.
It's the same image. It's the same image.
All these recent ones have been very accurate.
It was dimly lit, in fact, but mysteriously, I could still feel an elegance to the place. Mion seemed to want a more modern building, but traditional houses like this aren't bad either. You're kidding, right? There's a terrible draft and the winters are freezing. Don't go making my house into property of cultural significance and getting in the way of renovations, got it? What I want most is a house like yours, Kei-chan. I'm pretty jealous of it. It seems like it would be warm in the winter. Oh, but snowfall seems like it would be a problem.
Snowfall's a problem? Does Hinamizawa get that much snow? Our latitude is south of Kanto, isn't it? Isn't this region warm?
See, I told you, Keiichi's got book smarts, absolutely zero street smarts.
You don't know Keiichi-kun? Hinamizawa is an area that gets heavy snowfalls.
Never mind, he's
When we get a lot, everyone gets buried. Sometimes you can't even get out of your house.
He just knows absolutely nothing about Hinamizawa.
Sometimes your car gets totally buried too, and you can't find where it is.
Well, you didn't know about this.
I wasn't aware of that. Hinamizawa? Was that bad a place in the winter? Come to think of it, my dad. He said something like, this place got plenty of snow, so we could have fun building igloos. And he said it about that voice. I can't really do the soggy voice. Still, your front door getting buried? Not being able to find your car? That's way too much snow.
Can't get enough snow.
You remember from geography class, right? The western side of Japan gets cold winds from Asia. We're different from those softies protected by the mountains, nice and warm by the Pacific Ocean.
I'm totally okay with being a softie. And nice and warm. I hate the cold.
We'll have to have a training camp to get Kei-chan used to the cold this winter then.
No way, no way. There's no way that's happening. I hate the cold, and I hate training camps too, and I hate them even more put together.
Mion laughed even more uproariously than she ever had, then told us she'd bring out some tea and left her seat for the moment.
Still, there's a lot of fun things to do in the winter. I bet our club will be a blast then.
Our two-person club.
Well, 3 if she's allowed back in.
Oh, Mion will be in jail.
She'll be in jail, yeah.
Well,
She
yeah,
can
they'll just have to have
organize
their
club
club activities in
from
jail.
Our club continuing to
Just
get activities.
them from jail.
Oh, yes, FaceTime in the 1980s. Our club continuing activities in the winter sounds totally horrible. In the cold or marching into the snow. When do we turn to Mount Redhorn?
I don't get that reference.
I don't either.
Yeah. Wait, that's Rena.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of tough punishment games for the winter season. One of the times she made us have a Rio carnival in the schoolyard while snow was falling.
Damn. I see the terror of our club cared not for the season. The victor would be decided by who could best adapt to the winter-only events.
We do snowball fights and shaved ice eating contests and treasure hunts in the snow.
Wait, why is everything outside? Why can't we play tabletop games in a nice, warm room while it's snowing?
Whoa, Keiichi-kun, if you're saying things like that, then you're gonna lose a lot this winter. You'll have lots of punishment games. And Rena won't lose. How?
Well, give me that howl.
I settled things with a cross chop to the head. You sure having fun? Our walls aren't very thick, so be careful not to go flying through any, okay? The paper sliding door opened, and Mion returned with a pot and a complete tea set. Do you want some sesame senbei to go with that? Sorry we don't have much in the way of bean paste or other good stuff.
It's okay. It's okay. We didn't really come here to drink tea anyway.
And with those words, the smile disappeared from Rena's face. Ah, she did it. That one careless statement reminded us of what we had nearly been able to forget. I had wanted to enjoy this peaceful time for a little longer, but we put an end to that with those honestly careless words. When she noticed the smile disappear from Rena's expression, Mion, too, changed hers. It was as if the cheerful air, that was like a warm spring day until a moment ago, had slipped through the cracks in the paper door, and altogether disappeared. There was no point in regretting it now. We did not come here today to chat and enjoy ourselves. Mion silently poured the tea. During that time, both Rena and I sat kneeling without uttering a word.
Yeah, we got past the background without you changing it.
Okay, if we ever get that background again.
I mean, there was just a ceiling.
Here you are. Drink up. You know what? Just to spite you, this stays on for the rest of the time. Fuck you. Fuck you. Anyway.
Have you guys seen your torture dungeon in HD graphics?
Wait, let me change the aspect ratio too so the text box actually lines up. We couldn't even mutter a word of acknowledgement at those natural words of courtesy. There's no poison in it or anything. Do you distrust me that much? That's upsetting. Mion gave a bitter smile at that and let her shoulders droop.
Ellipsis.
We all remained silent. We remained silent, hoping that someone else would speak up first. That was, however, the one thing we didn't want to do, and so we sat for a long time. At last, Mion smiled scornfully and opened her mouth to speak. Hey now, Kei-chan, Rena. You're the guests. Didn't you come here for something? If you don't speak up first, this old man won't know what to do. Rena and I exchanged glances, and we both resigned ourselves. Rena opened her mouth to speak first, so I stopped her.
Keiichi-kun.
It's okay. I needed to come here. Let me talk first.
Okay. I understand.
What would Kei-chan have to tell me? Please give me your daughter's hand in marriage, maybe? Can't do that. My little Rena and Kei-chan aren't meant for each other. Go wash your face with miso soup and try again later. What?
I don't know what that
Try some
means.
Japanese cultural thing.
It's probably an old proverb bit.
No, I meant the part about where she implied that Rena is her daughter. It's like is she just fucking around?
Deep lore.
Or
Deep lore.
What-
Don't
what-
ask.
I
she's
think
an
she's
old
just
man.
fucking
I'm
around.
trying not to think too hard about it, but also I'm thinking really hard about it.
She's an old man.
Afterwards,
Yeah, she's the old man.
Afterwards, I thought her mean remarks were Mion's own way of showing her consideration. Mion had said those mean things in a totally normal voice, and it drained the tension from my shoulders.
Mion. First, I have something to apologize for.
You do? What for? Mion pretended that she didn't know what I was talking about, but I'd clearly gotten my point across.
Well, on the night of Watsunagashi, the ritual storehouse behind the shrine, I went in there.
I could see Mion's expression immediately become harder.
I knew it was somewhere I wasn't supposed to go, but it was just supposed to be a little bit of exploration. We didn't mean anything by it. Even so, I still shouldn't have done it. So I apologize. I'm sorry.
To display my deepest sincerity, I pressed my forehead to the table. I meant it as a way of prostrating myself. I figured it wouldn't feel sincere enough if I raised my head right away, so I left it there on the table for a while. Mion didn't say anything. With my face down, I couldn't tell what sort of expression Mion had. Only the voices of the cicadas filled the room. Mixed with them, I could hear the sound of the clock ticking. That was all. When I started to struggle to breathe from having my head down for so long, Mion told me to stop. You got me there. I didn't expect you to pitch it to me straight. You've got me on the ropes. I looked up to see that Mion's face was calm, but she was smiling faintly. If you understand that even though it was only a casual exploration for you, Kei-chan, that there are a lot of people who think it's no laughing matter, then it's okay. There's an old saying, when in Rome, do as the Romans do.
It's been days since then. It may be too late, but I apologize. What I did was wrong. Please, forgive me.
I could feel pitiful tears welling up within me. If I had done this sooner, maybe nothing terrible would have happened. It's okay. If you know what you did was bad, then that's enough, right? Mion spoke like it was someone else's problem, and I wasn't happy about it.
Michan, Keiichi-kun is apologizing seriously. I think maybe you should respond seriously as well.
I am being serious, though. Do I not look serious to you, Rena?
You don't.
Rena was giving her tit for tat, and so the room's atmosphere quickly began to grow sharper. She was right. Even though I came here to speak from the heart like this, it felt like she hasn't been taking this seriously. Obviously, Rena isn't fond of that.
Keiichi-kun, you can get up now. Let's tell her everything. That looks like what Michan wants to.
If I had known, it would turn out like this from the beginning. Or I had known, it would turn out like this from the beginning. Hadn't I come here prepared for that? I mustered my willpower and bit my lip.
Mion, you called Rika-chan and Satoko the day before last, right?
I don't remember doing so. If you have a reason to think so, could you let me hear it?
It was evening, before dinner time. Rika-chan should have come here, bringing a big bottle of soy sauce, to have you share some with her.
Mion was trying to keep from showing any reaction, but I didn't miss her eyelid twitching just a bit. Why do you think that?
It's not hard to understand. Michan, you saw it too, didn't you? Rika-chan's room?
Mion put a finger to her forehead and acted like she was thinking.
There was chilled tofu, but no soy sauce. Plus the big bottle of soy sauce that should have been under the sink was nowhere to be found.
What? Is that why she would have come here?
Mion, drop the act. You wrote it yourself on the notice, didn't you? That you'd share your soy sauce?
Mion scratched her head. I heard her ever so faintly click her tongue. It was as though we found out she'd purposefully given too little change to a servant. That's all I could feel from her.
Then Michan, you... Rika-chan, you hit her?
Rena hesitated for a moment. I could tell she didn't want to use the word erased, and that she was struggling to find another word.
That was really supposed to be the end, wasn't it? For you, anyway?
What are you talking about?
You didn't foresee that Rika-chan would tell Satoko-chan that she was going to your house, did you, Mi-chan? Then Satoko-chan called. Might Rika be imposing on you? Yeah, probably just like that.
You sound just like her.
Mi-chan, you were in a bit of a bind then, because someone knew that Rika-chan had come here. So you decided to lure Satoko-chan here too.
Lure her out? Like, how, I wonder?
I wonder.
Mion prodded Rena on, as if trying to get to the good part of an interesting story. I, however, knew. I had been watching Mion change the whole time. She was relentlessly twirling her fingers. She had clearly lost her calm. Sorry, restlessly twirling her fingers. I mean, they mean similar enough things. It's fine. Of course, it was really a slight thing. And only I, who had been watching her this whole time, would have known. Mion was panicking. What Rena was saying must have been a bullseye.
It probably went like this. Satoko, I actually made too much dinner today, so why not come over and eat? Rika-chan came earlier and already ate some. Something like that.
Scratch. Mion's nails dug into her knee. There's no recordings of the phone conversations or anything, so how do you know that much?
I know it because the dinner that Satoko-chan made for the two of them was plastic wrapped in their refrigerator and hadn't been touched.
For a few moments, Mion's face was frozen in utter amazement. She looked like she couldn't believe that this person in front of her was Rena. With just that to go on, how did you even guess what we said over the phone?
It's a long explanation, so I'll get to the point. The contents of that refrigerator provided a vivid account of what you said over the phone when you lured her out.
Mion's jaw remained on the floor. That was the only way I could describe her face. That's... I had no idea I had such an incredible detective right next to me the whole time. I can't believe you'd figure out everything, down to the phone conversation, just from what was inside the fridge. You've got me there. You've got me, you've got me. As if a dam had burst, Mion convulsed into laughter. He really loves this metaphor.
That's true.
Her laughter, though, definitely couldn't make us want to laugh as well. Actually, I guess that's technically a simile. Mion grew tired of her dumb laughter, heaved a big sigh, and scratched her head. It almost seemed like Mian had lost a detective punishment game for the club or something, and her punishment had been decided. Oh, how fun that would have been if it were true.
An incredible detective. Michan, you're the one who guessed what Uishi-san told us. He called me an incredible detective, too.
As soon as she heard Oishi-san's name, Mian's eyes began to display panic more clearly, so that anyone would be able to tell.
Mion, the police have suspected you for a long time now. Uishi-san's officers have had the house under observation, so they could break in at any time.
Mian attempted to feign calm, but it looked like she was having a hard time with that. Part of her couldn't believe that the police had her surrounded, and she closely examined Rena's facial expression. However, she couldn't detect a hint of falsehood. Finally, Mian seemed to accept the fact that the police were encircling the house.
Was the mayor Michan, too?
Tomatake-san, Takano-san, you as well?
Mian didn't answer our rapid-fire questions. I could clearly see impatience in her eyes, which were still feigning calm. At last, Mian, who'd been sitting there lazily, readjusted her cushion and sat herself upright. This is a new expression, I think. Yeah, look at that. She's smiling. At that moment,
Very gentle smile.
the atmosphere in the room changed completely. Mian's expression also changed. The impatience and wonderment in her expression disappeared, and she became so solemn you'd think she was about to conduct a tea ceremony. I could sense it. It was now, in this moment. Mian had ceased to be Mian, but had changed into Mian Sonozaki, the current heir to the Sonozaki house. That solemn atmosphere about her was clearly abnormal, and was entirely different from that of the Mian I knew. Now, I could believe it. Now I could believe that she was the young leader who commanded the entire Sonozaki clan. Mian quietly placed both her hands on the tatami mat, and gave a beautifully elegant bow, as if this really were a tea ceremony, and named herself. We meet for the first time. I am the current heir to the Sonozaki house. My name is Mian. Mian's movements were so elegant they could cut, and we couldn't even answer her. All Rena and I could do was watch, baffled at her actions, which we could have never imagined the normal her doing. I would like to welcome you to the Sonozaki main house today. There's a bomb in the floorboards. I will greet you all in place of our leader, Oreo. It seems as though you have various things you would like to ask. If I can be of any assistance, then I would like to answer without concealing anything. What? What did Mian just say? Mian said she would answer anything we asked. There was a strong light of resolve in her eyes.
It's really all right if we ask anything, then?
I shall tell you everything I know. That is why you have come here, after all. Rena and I exchanged glances. There was a mountain of things we wanted to ask Mian.
You could put them in the backyard.
Oh my gosh. However, we hesitated for a moment on what we should ask first. The first question Rena gave was extremely abstract, but it was the question everyone wanted to know right now. Everyone is an interesting way to refer to two people. Anyway.
Why would you do this?
That was what I wanted to ask as well. Why would you do this? Did you know that Ryukishi that didn't only go for Rika-chan and Sadako. It went for the mayor, Takano-san, and Tomatake-san as well. No, even further back, for all the incidents that had been occurring every year. For a little while, Mian couldn't respond. Right when she realized that the question was too vague and tried to put it in more concrete terms, she finally opened her mouth to speak. To answer that question will take some time. If that is acceptable, however, then I would by all means like you to hear it. She spoke clearly. She spoke with a clarity that a grandmother might use when telling a story from a long time ago. Interesting, by the way, that like the progression of this chapter, because like I feel like
We're
in
finally going to
basically-
have all the answers.
I feel like in any other mystery story, this would not happen in the second chapter. I don't know.
I was thinking
very
that too, and that
strange.
makes me think that there's going to be a lot more to this.
I mean, of course, there's going to be more to it. It's not like they're going to just sit around twiddling their thumbs for 6 arcs. But like,
Are you sure?
But like, this is a very unusual progression for a mystery.
Well, maybe
story.
there's
Maybe
the reveal-
there's 6 arcs of Happy Fun Club Time.
maybe there's
that's
probably
true.
something greater going on than just knowing the
Yeah,
culprit doesn't really
we
change
can
much.
maybe we can like dig up Rika's corpse and have her sit at the table
Maybe
with
there's
us.
actually space aliens, you know?
Anyway, she spoke with a clarity that a grandmother might use when telling a story from a long time ago. Do you know that Hinamizawa village used to be called Onigafuchi village? I think this is actually a new track.
Yeah, I think it is.
Rena nodded lightly, then shot me a glance asking if I did. I returned her nod. Hinamizawa was once called Onigafuchi village. Yes. I heard all about that night from Takano-san in the ritual storehouse. They firmly believed that the demon blood ran through their veins and cut off all contact with the outside world. They were worshipped by those in villages at the foot of the mountains and treated like transcendents, those capable of magic. That's weird because Ryukishi's never written about people capable of magic.
Ever. Nor will he ever write about people capable of magic.
That's right. Our ancestors in Onigafuchi village were proud transcendents descended from the demons. Those in villages at the foot of the mountains worshipped and honored them. Nevertheless, that all decayed with the end of the Tokugawa era. The black ships arrived. The era of the samurai ended. The era of national isolation ended. And the tradition of worshipping Onigafuchi village quickly disappeared. Those things that linger from the past were all to be detested. That was the kind of era it became. The Meiji era began, and the name of Onigafuchi village, with its long history, was forcefully changed to Hinamizawa village. I have heard that the Meiji government strongly wished to erase the old customs.
True.
The abolition of feudal domains and the establishment of prefectures. An era had begun, seeing Japan sprinting up all the stairs that were beyond their means to try to reach the same level as the rest of the world. All things in the Western style were to be extolled, while all old traditional things were to be scorned. That was the sort of era it was. Our ancestors in Onigafuchi village. Sorry, that was Mion's voice. I thought we were still on narration for a second. Our ancestors in Onigafuchi village were proud transcendents descended from the demons. Onigafuchi village disappeared in a flash. At last, Japan, provoked by the great European powers colonizing countries in Asia one by one, began a policy to increase its wealth and military power so that it could stand as a global power in its own right. Conscription began, and they won war after war. The first Sino-Japanese War, and the Russo-Japanese War, and until the Pacific War broke out. Alright guys, this is gonna be on the test. They recklessly climbed the staircase towards modernization. At the time, Onigafuchi village had already lost its impenetrability. The villagers, once worshipped as transcendents, were now on the receiving end of inhuman treatment. The sacred Onigafuchi village had been groundlessly labeled as an isolated village of those afflicted with incurable diseases, a mere shadow of its former self, and stood on the precipice of an era of hardship. I'm just gonna screenshot that quote for no reason. She said something interesting.
And what's that? Care sharing it with the class?
Incurable diseases.
Incurable diseases. Why did she say that? We've never heard anything about that before. Huh?
I can't believe it. It's all because of the disease that makes you kill yourself.
I mean, listen, is that really more far-fetched than a drug that makes you kill yourself? Come on, man.
Oh man, my tummy aches so bad, I gotta rip my throat out.
Oh man, this unknown drug sure does make me kill myself and leave no trace. That's how y'all fucking drug defenders sound. Anyway.
Drug defender!
Thus began harsh days, where one would suffer unreasonable discrimination, just because people knew one was from Onigafuchi. The children in the village at the foot of the mountain were taught not to go near Hinamizawa, because filthy germs were rampant there. Children who had come into contact with children in Hinamizawa would cry and wail as their parents purified the spot they were touched by rubbing salt on it. One of the adults said to the children that if you got lost in Hinamizawa, you would get kidnapped by demons, cut up into pieces, and devoured. Never ever go near the terrifying village of the man-eating demons. That's what he taught them. Another said that during a famine long ago, the people of Hinamizawa gathered up all the corpses that they discarded into the dry riverbeds, then cooked and ate them in order to survive. Groundless stories, but said in such seriousness. Baseless slander added to baseless slander, making Onigafuchi's village historically accurate, thrilling history all the more believable. Perhaps the chain of undue discrimination was a manifestation of the people's anxiety towards the uncertain times. Of course, the story didn't end only with the perspective of children. If anyone found out you were from Onigafuchi, you would be turned down from any job you applied for. People would even go back on engagements and marriage proposals. As for the marriages where one partner had lied about it, as soon as the truth got out, they were made to divorce. It even caused trials. They would appeal that where one came from was an important enough reason to divorce. They would, however, lose their case. Lying about one's fourth place apparently constitutes a heavy act of misrepresentation in marriage.
That's terrible.
I've heard about such discrimination towards those in small villages in civics class. Just because others knew you were from a tiny hamlet, you would be subjected to every societal disadvantage there was, a modern form of bullying. That's weird because I don't think Ryukishi's ever written about bullying before. Though I only memorized
Nor will
that.
he ever write about it.
Though I only memorized that because it was going to be on a test at one time. See, I told you this is going
Just
to be on the
just
test.
like this monologue. Just like this monologue.
This is all going to be on the test, so write it all down, buddy. Remember, Sino-Japanese War, Russo-Japanese War, all the wars.
I won't remember.
I recalled being suspicious about it, and unable to believe such discrimination occurred in modern Japan.
Oh man, just wait until he enters the workforce.
Oh no. He doesn't know, chat. Anyway, well, I suppose I can't say that they weren't asking for it. Our ancestors were proud of the demon blood flowing through them. They lived their lives boasting about it and scorning those at the foot of the mountain, after all. They struck fear into the villagers down there with their mystique, and demanded gifts of dread and tribute. With that, Mion smiled for the first time, albeit in self-mockery. During the Pacific War, despite the slogans that all the country was acting as one, those from Hinamizawa continued to suffer all manner of discrimination. There were too many ways to count. They would send their husbands and sons to war, and the women on the home front would suffer greatly too. My grandmother remembers it well. She remembers it being a difficult time. Even that bitterly long war, however, finally ended in 1945. Hinamizawa had lost many male hands, but at last, their fathers and husbands and sons returned to them. Of course, there were also many who didn't come back. Nevertheless, for those in Hinamizawa, who were at their limits, barely able to maintain the village without the men, their return was a very happy thing. MacArthur's GHQ set to work on drastically improving mindsets and strove for the abolition of unfair discrimination. Alright, so you guys are gonna go ahead and read some Wikipedia articles after we're wrapped up here.
I know most of these names, bro.
I do too, but it's good to study up, you know? Anyway. Because this is all gonna be on the test. They could feel day breaking on the
I'm
dismal
skipping the
night
test.
that was the previous era. Hinamizawa was on the verge of turning into a ghost town. Those in the village started to say that they should rebuild it once again, and got to work, trying to make the village even a little more plentiful. During that time, someone appeared who built up a fortune through a vast number of dealings in the black market. That was Mion's grandfather. The husband of the elderly current family leader, Sohei Sonozaki. Sohei said that he managed food warehouses in Harbin after being dispatched to the Chinese mainland. When it was time to pull out, he conspired with his superiors and comrades and stole a great deal of the army's canned goods. He hid them somewhere in the Seto Inland Sea and sold them widely at a high price on the black market, thus earning a fortune. Sohei didn't spend that fortune for his own pleasure, either. He entrusted the entire amount to his wife, the head of the Sonozaki house. Let's revive this ruined village. All who live here are our family, and this fortune is our collective property. So he proclaimed to my grandmother, the current head of the family. That fast fortune is a huge reason why Hinamizawa was revitalized after the war. I see. With that, Hinamizawa came back to life, and that's how the Sonozaki family had established its current prosperity. Of course, there were many people who begrudged the money coming from the black market, but the villagers no longer minded it. They succeeded at one business venture after another. Those who had succeeded freely supported those who had followed them. Ugh. Now I'm getting messed up. The giant family of Hinamizawa, tied together with strong bonds, kept on expanding its influence. The Sonozaki family, the center of everything, would be extolled for a long time as the minds behind Hinamizawa's revitalization.
The person at the middle of all this was your Nana, Michan? That's amazing. What a great success.
Mion looked like she was honestly happy when I praised her. However, around 1955, the wind started blowing in the other direction again. Because of the canned flesh incident. Wasn't this mentioned once, or am I, like, gaslighting myself?
Unit 731.
What was this? Was this mentioned already?
I would wager I don't know if I don't think it's been mentioned already in this. In Higurashi.
Wait, is this a real life incident?
I'm pretty sure.
Well, let me see. Ah, the Chichijima incident. There we go. Japanese soldiers killed 8 American airmen on Chichijima in the Bonin Islands and cannibalized 4 of them. I see.
Okay, so not 731.
Anyway. Canned flesh. It sounded so hideous that just hearing it made me nauseous. Someone naming himself as my grandfather, Sohei Sonozaki's superior, confessed that those canned goods had been human flesh. Hinamizawa, a village in which demons lived and ate humans. They were just about to wipe away that cursed stigma. The light had finally started to see the light they had finally started to see in their peaceful lives grew hazy and disappeared. The shocking truth, as revealed by his former superior. The stolen provisions from the old Japanese army had been a huge cornerstone for Hinamizawa's revival. Had been canned human flesh. Why were there cans like that? Wasn't Sohei just the manager of food warehouses? His superior revealed that Sohei Sonozaki did not have the job of managing the food. In reality, Sohei's job during the war had been to exterminate the pestilent mice and to transport the corpses of those with infectious diseases. It had been unfair treatment, and all because of the lowliness of his origins. As a result, though, he had returned safely without having been sent to the front lines or being detained. Perhaps that was the only fortunate thing to happen to him. Finally, Sohei was enlisted as an assistant at a military medical institution. There, however, he found something even worse than the low, scorned, depressing customs of owning.
Oh no, it was Unit 731. I did remember correctly.
Oh, okay. Hold on, wait, I need to look this up. I forgot what this is.
I'm gonna speedrun a piss.
That's fair.
I've been holding it for too long.
Okay.
True, I will too.
Good luck.
Let's see here. Imperial Japanese Army that engaged in lethal human experimentation. Ah. Just like everyone else during the war. It makes sense.
Alright, I'm back. I think probably my personal favorite of Unit 731's experiments would be the one where they stuck a mother and her child in an oven, actually. Because they were trying to figure out, like, what the limit would be to, you know, her maternal instincts to protect her child. And thought, okay, surely she'll let go and stop trying to protect her child with her body. But nope, they were wrong. Even to the point where she dies, she was trying to protect her kid.
And then they
I'm back.
killed the kid, probably.
Oh yeah, still killed the kid too, but like, you know.
Anyway. So,
Continue.
fun stuff. Oh wait, that's me again. Wait, no it isn't. Oh, that's you.
Could that have been, well, you know, the Bacteriological Corps in the old Japanese army or whatever?
Keiichi-kun, you've heard of that? What could it be?
I was pretty sure it was Unit 731.
Yeah, that's right!
It was a nightmare unit that devoted itself to researching terrifying bacteriological weapons to break the deadlock in the war. They used many innocent people as fodder for horrible human experiments. They methodically observed how many days a new strain would take to kill the victims. How many days it would be when injected. How many days it would be when swallowed. They dissected many people to find that out. Sometimes they wouldn't bother waiting until they were dead, and dissected them while they were still alive. They would strap them into centrifuges while still alive, and crush them in decompression chambers while still alive. When a live human decompresses, all the holes in their body get pushed outwards, and their intestines get pushed out of their anus like a snake whining out of it.
Jesus Christ!
Thanks,
Keiichi's into it.
Keiichi.
Keiichi just knows this.
Oh yeah, I saw that on a documentary one
I have a
time.
feeling
Oh,
I saw
sure.
something like that on a documentary one time.
Seen it more than once.
It was my favorite documentary.
That makes me sick. And they still hate Hinamizawa, huh?
You said it. Mion agreed with me, giving a faint, sad smile. It wasn't much in the way of communication, but for some reason I was happy to have it right now. The unit Sohei was in did way kinder research than that. They were researching concrete methods for reducing the difficulty of delivering food on the battlefield. The military's designs at the start of the war completely fell apart, and a chronic food shortage broke out all over the battlefront. The food shortage led to malnutrition, and as their natural resistance is lowered, the soldiers fell to one disease after another. Spirit and morale lowered as well. They wouldn't be able to maintain their forces at this rate. Apparently, that's where the research started. At first, it was to find methods of delivering food to battlefields. It was very broad, and included things from violent methods like stealing it from citizens, to survival methods like how to cook unfamiliar insects and plant life. As they were working out the details, they kept straying off course and going out of control. I said straying off course, a bit of a Freudian slip there, until they finally knocked down a door called Taboo. What do you think the easiest source of protein on a battlefield is?
Human.
Rana and I knew the answer without being told, so we didn't answer. That's right. They were researching ways to handle using humans as food.
Well, they got told anyway.
Fighting onwards, sometimes eating the flesh of enemies, and sometimes that of allies, became the ultimate service paid to their country. Well, keep in mind, Mia isn't talking just to Keiichi and Rena, she's talking to everyone.
Yeah. You're right. She's talking to the police officers, too.
Anyway, fighting onwards, sometimes eating the flesh of enemies, and sometimes that of allies, became the ultimate service paid to their country. They were deathly serious about this doctrine. It really is a riot. My grandfather was despised as someone who ate human flesh, and yet they had gone above and beyond that. Apparently, he always thought about it, too. Even if he was a vulgar, man-eating demon, there were far more ugly demons than he. So no matter how much he was scorned, he wouldn't put up with it. At last, they had a handful of test prototypes. When the soldiers learned it was human flesh, however, the scientists couldn't make anyone eat it. So it was apparently sent to the front lines. The cans were labeled as meat substitutes, and so they wouldn't accidentally eat it themselves, they stamped the bottoms with a circle. The starved soldiers on the front lines apparently loved all the prototypes they were sent. Among them, those who cooked it in soy sauce, like it was sukiyaki, loved it the most.
Come on, Michan, stop. I'm getting sick to my stomach.
Rena really was pale-faced, and she looked like she was having difficulty continuing to sit on her knees. Whoops. Mion looked like she had more to say, but she sighed lightly and stopped there.
Then, those canned goods your grandpa brought back.
I don't know if it's true. Sohei denied it was human flesh up until the day he died. However, those who begrudged Hinamizawa's sudden revival called him a savage for making a fortune from selling human flesh, and the villagers began to be scorned again. They returned to a time where children would be jeered at and have rocks thrown at them. The stifling silence came back. What a seriously hopeless and sad story it was. They discriminated, were discriminated against, discriminated, and were discriminated against. Why must they attach worth and rank to it? Why can't they just live without looking down on people? Why can't everyone enjoy life together? I didn't know. My grandmother, the family head, once told the children of this village this. If they throw a stone at one of you, then two of you must throw stones back. The children asked her, what if they threw stones at two of us? Of course, the answer was simple. If they throw stones at two of you, throw them back with 4. If they chase you with 8, if they chase 8 of you with sticks, drive them off with 16. If they slander 30 of you, yell back with 60. Finally, the children ask, what if we're attacked by 1,000 people? Even that answer was simple. If 1,000 people attack you, then everyone in Hinamizawa will stand up against them. It was a manifesto to spur people into action. My grandmother rose up not only as the leader of the Sonozaki house, but as the mother of Hinamizawa. It was halfway through 1955. It was a time when riots over the treaty with the US were rampant, a time of battle and action. The people of Hinamizawa joined together and fought, treating unfair discrimination towards one as a crime against them all. It didn't matter whether that one was a child or an adult. If they heard that a child had been told off, then everyone would crowd the house of the perpetrator, acting as a whole. If they heard an adult had been treated unfairly, men and women, young and old, would all band together and stand up against it. If you meddled with people from Hinamizawa, you would be in trouble. They probably figured that if they could make others think that, they'd win. Gei-chan, do you remember how many people came to help you when you got involved with those delinquents in town? I recalled how much of an impression it had left on me. That the people of Hinamizawa boldly came to my rescue, yet the people of Okinomiya averted their eyes so they wouldn't get involved. My grandmother fought, and my parents carried on the fight. At last, peace returned to Hinamizawa. Of course, that peace had been placed on a razor's edge. When you consider the previous 100 years of history, the tranquility now can only be called a chance interval, standing on uneven scales.
Why?
Could I really have an opinion on such a long and difficult history when I hadn't even moved here more than a year ago? Yet, I said it anyway.
Why can't everyone just live in peace? What happened to those old stories of Oyashiro-sama that I heard from Takano-san?
Man and demon joined hands and lived together in harmony. Didn't Oyashiro-sama remain in this world to watch over that? It's a fairy tale. I mean, even if those people and the demons were real, the Oyashiro-sama who mediated between them wasn't.
Is that why Oyashiro-sama's name curse? Why Oyashiro-sama's curse happens?
So you canonically flubbed that.
A cool gust of wind blows in from outside, fluttering Mion's long, beautifully clear hair. Mion kept her refreshing smile without answering, and didn't even change her expression, but even that became a silent answer. So that Hinamizawa village might once more be like Onigafuchi village. So that we may again be a sacred existence, worthy of worship. That was the earnest wish of our ancestors in Onigafuchi, and the mission of those who inherit the demon in the Sonozaki main family.
Those who inherit the demon?
For generations, the Sonozaki family has had a custom of including the character for demon in the leader's names. Ryukishi likes to repeat himself, you see. If you write out my name on your hand, it should appear plain as day. I trace out the word Mion on the palm of my hand. Oh, she's right. The character for demon is in there. Not only in my name, either. The demon is engraved on my body as well. When she said that, she quietly rose and began to lay her hand on her clothing.
It's okay, Mi-chan. You don't need to show us, okay?
Thank you. With just that exchange, I guessed what she meant. Most likely, somewhere on her body was a permanent seal, such as a tattoo or marking, that proved she inherited the demon. Mion didn't sit back down. There, yay, the ceiling's back! Get fucking owned.
No.
Get fucking owned, idiot. Get owned. Get owned, get owned, get owned, get owned, get owned. Mion didn't sit back down. She cackled As GM was like, no, the ceiling appeared again, no! Okay, Mion didn't
That's
sit
like
back down.
100 lines.
Mion didn't sit back down. She smoothly opened the paper door onto the porch. A refreshing breeze began to cleanse the damp air filling the room. Mion quietly gazed out at the wide yard for quite a while. On her shoulders was something I can never imagine the normal Mion carrying. It was the heavy, truly heavy history of Hinamizawa. No, of Onigafuchi weighing down on them. What kind of words could I possibly say to a Mion like that? Rena wasn't saying anything to her either. Only the voices of the cicadas drowned out the silence. At last, after a long period of nothing, Mion murmured. Serial incidents happening over the past 5 years. I was directly related to some of them, and indirectly to others. Some were not the Sonozaki family, but were rather related to others, the Kimiyoshi family and the Furude family. I think I was at the center of all of them. She said it without turning around, with her back to us. At some point, her tone of voice had gone back to being the Mion we knew. I have faith in what I've done, and I don't feel any guilt. If I did, perhaps it would be that I will have to leave the stage before the heir is decided. If I am caught and tried in a court of law, then I suppose that's how it works nowadays. Being able to retire with Hinamizawa at the most peaceful it's been in 100 years could be the happiest thing that's ever happened to any of the Sonozaki leaders of the past generations. Mion leaned a shoulder against the paper door, then slid it down and flopped on the ground. It was an act of such resignation that just seeing it made me hurt inside. The numerous terrible crimes Mion had been a part of suddenly began to fade from my mind. Hey, Mion, I don't care what happens after this. Can't you just try to struggle as much as you can? Try to run away? As soon as I began to think that way, Rena, why did I say
Rion?
That's a new sibling.
Give me a hybrid.
She's hidden under the
That's her twin.
She's hidden under the floorboards right now. As soon as I began to think that way, Rena's ringing voice filled the room.
You're hiding twins under the floorboards, aren't you?
But Rika-chan and Satoko-chan, you killed them, didn't you, Mi-chan?
The sharp points of her words stabbed into my chest, despite not being directed at me.
I'm not saying that it's okay if you killed other people. Regardless, Mi-chan, you killed Rika-chan and Satoko-chan.
Rena's words were more biting than any I had ever heard. Even now that we knew all the heavy history pressing down on Mion's shoulders, she had criticized her for killing our friends. Just as I bear the duty of the Sonozaki family, Rika-chan bore the duty of the Furude family. That duty was to protect the ritual storehouse. My chest tightened. I learned around last year that Rika-chan had said something about it. The bars of the storehouse door were too heavy for her, and she wanted to change them to a simpler lock and key. Even the priest before her had complained about it being heavy. He was very aware of how hard it was for Rika-chan.
I will make sure to guard it, so I want to replace the lock with something lighter.
I replied on behalf of the Sonozaki family leader. Ever since the string of freak death incidents, there seem to be people who are insolent towards Oyushiro-sama, so you shouldn't replace the lock with a simpler one. That said, the leader of the Kimiyoshi family, Old Man Kimiyoshi, If it's that difficult for you, Rika-chan, then I think it's okay to replace the lock, he said. The very fact that it was locked with a key was an indication of it being somewhere you mustn't enter. There was nobody bad enough to break it through it and go inside, he said. Even if we were alike as leaders, I couldn't find it in me to argue with Old Man Kimiyoshi, since I owed him so much. In the end, we decided to change out the lock on the storehouse, and switch it to a really cheap and light padlock. Old man, is this really alright? Nana says that if possible, we should keep the lock the same.
It'll be alright. You're quite the worrywart. If something happens, this old man will take all the responsibility.
Do you promise? You mean that you will take responsibility as the leader of the Kimiyoshi family, right? You should be well aware of how sacred the things inside really are.
It's okay. There aren't any bad cats in Hinamizawa who would open the lock and break in. Meow, meow.
Sobs escaped from my mouth. Something hot and wet dripped down in spades and fell onto the tatami mat.
Oh shit, he's melting.
Oh my god. I had already heard of the thieves entering the ritual storehouse during the Watanagashi festival. There were 4 of them. We decided to act within the day. At the same time, we needed to demand that the ones who allowed the thieves to break in, Rika-chan of the Furude family, and Old Man Kimiyoshi, take responsibility. My tears dripped and dropped, until just now I had decided that it was Mion's fault, that she had killed Rika-chan and the others. That was wrong. The one who killed them wasn't Mion. It was me.
I might as well have killed them.
Keiichi-kun.
I had a chance to stop this tragedy from happening, and yet, I didn't. Cheap curiosity got the better of me, and I didn't. If, at the time, I had stopped us from sneaking into the ritual storehouse, Rika-chan and the others wouldn't have had to die. If I had, then nothing would have happened. We would be spending our days having lots of fun, like we always did.
I was an idiot.
If by shedding tears I could take it all back, then I would have filled up the room with them. However, such a meager act wouldn't be enough to redeem myself for the crime I've committed. Kei-chan, you're not at fault. Mion gently began to speak to me, as if trying to reason with me. As the leader of the Sonozaki family, I needed to act. But given the history of the Sonozaki family, thinking about it now, it's no big deal. Maybe I should have saved my friends, even if it meant casting all that aside. I yielded to it, and that's why I killed those 2. I, Mion Sonozaki, and nobody else, killed them. I had hundreds of chances to stop it, but I didn't stop. I gave in to the easy role that was handed to me, and abandoned all thought of fighting for my friends. So this is my crime. I killed them, Mion Sonozaki, with these hands. Killed them, and nothing whatsoever changed. Nothing. Her masochistic laughter was sad. Especially because Mion boasted in club that she would turn the tables on whatever predicaments had presented themselves. It was so painful.
Still, Mi-chan, you saved one person of your own volition.
Eh? As I looked at her surprised, Luna stuck her finger right at my forehead.
You left Keiichi-kun alive. As strong as you are, Mi-chan, It would have been no trouble for you, but you didn't kill him.
That's right. Mion was so cunning that nobody could stand up to her, even in our club. If she had seriously tried to kill me, I would have been dealt with on the very first night. So many people had been sacrificed, but I was always left out in the cold. When did I first realize it? Even though people were disappearing one after the other, for some reason, I had this vague belief that only I would be left alive. Why didn't I kill him? As a demon, I can't even begin to guess. Maybe Mion had some reason she didn't want to kill you.
What is that supposed to mean?
Shh. Mion put a finger to her lips to say that Rena didn't need to talk. Is Oishi waiting outside?
Yes.
Any way out?
No. They said they had the place surrounded. It seemed like they called a lot of cars over the radio. I think they have your entire property surrounded.
Mion fell silent. Rena's merciless words felt cruel. But they weren't meant to be. Maybe they were trying to lessen her good friend's pain, if only by a little. Maybe they were considerate, like she was trying to help.
Please, turn yourself in.
Mion didn't open her mouth, but she smiled just a little.
We'll go with you. We'll never leave a friend by herself.
Crying children and Rena are the only things I can't beat. She rose, scratching her head. Her face had returned entirely to that of the usual Mion. I'm well aware of how serious my own crimes are. Even if they accept me turning myself in, I'll probably never be able to come back here. I couldn't say anything. The number of deaths Mion was involved in was just too large. So much that maybe recommending that she turn herself in was, in a way, extremely cruel. So, I'd like you to hear one last selfish request.
What is it?
30 minutes is fine. Just let me have some time alone with Kei-chan. Huh? Oh, this will go great. My name suddenly came up, and it looked like I was the only one surprised about that.
Keiichi-kun, is that okay with you? If you don't want to, then I won't make you.
You're right. It's okay if you don't want to. After all, I'm a demon. And Kei-chan is a bona fide human who moved here from somewhere else. For us to be compatible, as long as Oyashiro-sama doesn't exist to mediate, simply isn't possible. There was no reason for me to hesitate. Mion had been engulfed by heavy, unopposable tradition. The one who had forced her to kill her friends with her own hands. That was me, and me alone. Okay, Keiichi, I think you need to back it up just a little
Yeah,
bit.
just like a...
I'm not saying you're blameless, but okay, Keiichi. Anyway, in fact, with me cornered, it would have been okay for her to blame me. However, Mion didn't say one word of blame. Far from it, I was guilty of the same crime, and she let me go. Amidst the fate she could not oppose, she saved me alone. I didn't know whether I should be thankful for that. Thinking upon it now, I didn't know how much easier it would be if I were to be granted the same punishment as Rika-chan and the others. The only thing I knew for sure was that I had an equal duty to bear the sins that Mion shouldered. No, you don't. What? That's crazy.
He killed them. He killed them. It was
Yeah, he
him.
killed all those people.
So
Why can't he get over that?
So, when it came to Mion's last request, there was no reason for me to hesitate.
You think this is bad? This chicanery? He's done worse. Sure. It's fine.
This will go well, I'm sure. Thank you.
I'd like to thank you too, Keiichi-kun.
Luna stood up. It looked like she would keep her promise with Mion and leave. It's fine, Rena. You can wait right here. I just want to go around the yard with Kei-chan. If you're bored, you can go to my room. You can read any manga you like. And if there are any volumes you like, you may as well take them with you.
I don't want to. Mi-chan's books belong to Mi-chan. Rena couldn't bring them back home with her so freely.
You're such a good kid. Only at times like this. Mion took Rena's head and rubbed it violently like I always did. Okay, let's go, Kei-chan. I began to walk after Mion, who headed for the hallway, when Rena silently stopped me.
Take care of Mi-chan.
Yeah.
Mi-chan really does believe she won't ever be able to come back.
I didn't know much about laws, but with as many deaths as she'd been involved in, the chances of her escaping a heavy punishment seemed non-existent.
Watch out that she doesn't do anything rash, okay?
Mion might not surrender herself to justice, but instead choose to put an end to things herself. Rena had already thought that far ahead.
Right. I won't let that happen.
Rena rubbed at her tears, which had fallen without me noticing them.
Okay, then go after her.
I nodded and followed Mion, who had disappeared out the front door. I could clearly hear Rena sobbing from the other side of the paper door.
Oh, hey, a new background. We should see the drawing version of this.
Sure.
Pretty much the same.
That's probably like the most identical one so far.
Even the car.
Yeah, even the car's
car.
there. Wait, is the second car that's hidden behind something still there? Nah, it's been erased. It's been erased
Why
from
was
history.
Mi-chan made a successor to demons? Maybe it just had to happen that way. But it's just so awful.
Something hot burned down my cheeks. They were my tears. I fiercely wiped them away. This was the last of my time I could offer to Mion, so I absolutely didn't want to let her see my tears during it. Ugh. Mion was already waiting outside the front door.
Taking a shit.
All right, do we wanna pick this up next week, or how much?
There's
time
going to
we
be a
got?
lot left over, as I can tell you from going through this.
All right.
So, up to you guys, but yeah.
I just
Like
got an
yours.
achievement called "Sorry About That."
And what's that for?
It said that you just get achievements as you progress through the thing. It's a VN.
What?
It's a kinetic novel, actually. Or a sound novel, some would
The
say.
description is Twisted Sisters. Like the band Twisted Sister?
Crazy.
I guess if there's a decent bit more to this, this is probably a good stopping point for now then.
I'm not sure I'd say a decent bit, because this is like... Yeah, this is the final bit here. That's why I say that.
Well, yeah.
I guess there's like the epilogue type section after this, but...
Alright, well, GG gamers. We'll see
Yeah, we did it.
in Cicadaville next time.
Next week, same time.